Hello and welcome to the 16th video of the JavaFx application, and in this video we are going to continue with dynamics. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically construct our stage all in our calendar. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to take the stage. I'm going to copy that and I will just uncomment for now so we can see what we're doing, and I will paste it in our constructor. And then we're going to need the grid pane and the scene and the scene. So I'm going to copy that and I'll uncomment that as well, and that's going to go under that. There we go. And then I'm going to basically take all this. I'm going to leave the border pane in there because I'm going to use this function to manipulate the border pane. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to uncomment that, and then we're going to just paste it in the top here so we have all that. And then what we need to do is we need to get our show calendar, and because that needs to go as well into the here into the constructor, and we're just going to put that right at the bottom where it needs to belong, and we'll just shift tab that back where it needs to be. Now we need to just modify our function for the BuildCalendar. It's actually, and we need to now pass in the grid pane. So I'm just going to say grid pane, and I'm just going to call it GP because it's just going to be a grid pane. And then what we can do is we can copy this and paste it in wherever we need our grid pane, so that that is, I made a mistake there. Well, there we go. So now our grid pane is in there. So now actually everything should still work as it should. All we need to do is when we call this function, we need to pass in our grid pane, and our grid pane is called GP calendar. So we call GP calendar. So that takes all our errors away. So what we can do now is we can just run the program to test it. There we go, and it's still all working exactly as it should be working. And basically now we can start working on our border pane. In order to do that, I'm going to create a number of labels, 2 labels to be precise. I'm just going to say private label, and this is going to be L for label, and it's going to be top, and it equals new label, and I'm going to give it just some fancy, actually I'm not going to call it label top, I'm going to call it label forward because it's going to go forward in the months, and I want to keep that F actually as a capital. There we go. And then we're going to create one for the back. We're going backwards in the month, so I'm just going to copy all that, paste it, and it's going to be label back. So these labels are basically going to be like buttons I'm going to use, and like that. And then we also need a text heading, and I'm just going to use a text for that, text, and it's going to be month heading, because it's going to be the month. Or actually we can just say month, why not, like that. Text month, because it's going to be the month name, and it's going to be new text, and I'm just going to set that text for now. Pardon me, I'll change it later. Month name here, so we will put the month's name there. Okay, and then what we need to do is then we need to add them to our BuildCalendar. So in order to do that, I'm just going to create a couple of H boxes, and the H box is a container, and it basically means horizontal box, and when you add nodes to it, it will put the nodes in a horizontal position. You also get the V box, and that's like a vertical box, and it adds the nodes in a vertical position. And I'll just call this HBox top, and that's going to be a new HBox. Oh, that O needs to be lowercase. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create one for the bottom, and I'm going to call this lower just because I like to. So we've got two H boxes, one for the heading and one for the two labels at the bottom of our calendar, and we'll style these later. So what we have to do now is where we've got this H boxes, we have to add the labels and the heading. So HBox top, HBox top, and it's dot get children dot add node, and it is going to be the T month that we're going to add in there, just so to make it work. And then we're going to say HBox, and that's going to be lower dot get children, and you can use the dot add all, but I'm just going to use the dot add, and we want to put the label forwards in, well, maybe first the label backwards. We'll see which way it happens, so put the label backwards in first. We can always change it around, and then HBox lower dot get children, oops, dot add node, and so this is going to be label back, is it? No, we've got label back already, pardon me. So this is going to be the label forwards dot add node, and we're going to add the label forwards. So now that we've got all that, we need to put those H boxes in our calendar, and it's basically very much the same as this. It's BP calendar dot set top, and we're going to set the top. We're going to put the HBox top, and then BP for BorderPane calendar dot set bottom, and that's the bottom one, and we're going to put the HBox lower in that one. So now we should be able to see everything. It's not going to be particularly all that great, but we will see everything. We can manipulate the data later. So there is our forwards and backwards labels, and our month name is going to be there. So that's how we're going to add our month names and things in. And I think I'm just going to stop the video there, because in the next video what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these buttons work, and maybe create some space so we can see that those are two buttons. Well, they're not really buttons, they're labels, but I'm going to make them work when we click on them. And we will get the month date here, or the month, not the month date, the month, because this is where the dates are. And I will look at styling a little bit, otherwise we would style in the next video. So I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed that, and please do like and subscribe if you're following me, and well, happy coding.